History often remembers the wars India fought, but sometimes it forgets the grit, blood, and sheer determination of ordinary soldiers who turned the impossible into possible. On the night of September 21 and 22 in 1965, the Indian Army's 3 JAT battalion carved their name in golden letters by storming the Pakistani stronghold of Dograi, just outside Lahore. This was not just another battle, it was one of the fiercest infantry fights ever fought by the Indian Army, where every street, every house and every lawn turned into a killing ground. Pakistan had declared Dograi to be an unbreakable fortress protected with minefields, artillery, armour and pillboxes. Yet within hours, the Indian Jats ripped apart this myth and planted victory on Pakistani soil. This was not only a tactical win but a psychological one, a victory that showcased the unshakable resolve of Indian soldiers fighting for their motherland under the command of a leader who personified discipline and courage. The Battle of Dograi holds a unique place in India's military history. Situated just a few kilometers from Lahore, Dograi was of immense strategic importance. Capturing it meant choking Pakistan's access roads and threatening their heartland. For Pakistan, Dograi was meant to be impregnable. They had fortified it with deep minefields, heavy artillery support and concrete bunkers. Every street was wired for defense, every house converted into a mini fortress. To any military planner, it looked like suicide to attempt an infantry assault. But to the soldiers of 3 JAT, this was not just a mission. This was a test of their courage, training and loyalty to the tricolour. Leading them was Lieutenant Colonel Desmond Hayde, a strict disciplinarian who lived by example. Known for his code of conduct, Hayde did not smoke, did not drink and carried an aura of quiet efficiency that inspired awe among his men. He knew every soldier by name, their background, their fears and their strengths. This personal bond, coupled with relentless training in the days leading to the war, transformed 3 JAT into a fighting machine. When the order came to capture Dograi, Hayde and his men knew what they were walking into, but fear was not an option. On September 6, 1965, in the initial phase of the war, 3 JAT surprised the Pakistanis by capturing Dograi and even crossing the Ichogil Canal. But due to lack of reinforcement and logistical support, they were forced to withdraw, sacrificing a golden opportunity to march deeper. For Hayde and his men, it was a bitter pill to swallow. They had seen victory within grasp and then watched it slip away, but destiny had planned a second chance. From September 8 to 21, 3 JAT camped at Santpura, just west of Wagah. Every day, Pakistani artillery rained shells on them, but instead of breaking morale, it hardened their resolve. Soldiers got so used to shelling that they mocked it. Patrolling became a routine, familiarity with the terrain became second nature, and the men studied every bush, every corner of the road to Dograi. By the time the order came again, the battalion was reaching for a battle. On the night of September 21, under cover of darkness, 3 JAT launched their final assault. Dograi turned into hellfire. Bullets rattled from Pakistani pillboxes, artillery thundered overhead, and every lane became a trap. Yet the Jats moved forward, house by house, bunker by bunker. Bayonets flashed in hand-to-hand combat, and the Pakistani defense, believed to be unbreakable, crumbled in hours. In the meal, over 300 Pakistani soldiers were killed, many more wounded, and in a moment of poetic justice, their commanding officer was captured alive. What Pakistan called a fortress fell to the grit of Indian infantry. The victory at Dograi was not just about territory, it was about morale. It shattered Pakistan's belief in their defenses and showed the world that Indian infantry could take on any odds. Lieutenant Colonel Hayde himself was decorated with the Mahavir Chakra for his leadership. But beyond medals, this battle became a testament to the spirit of the Indian Army, that no obstacle, no fortress, no enemy line is too strong when Indian soldiers decide to win. Pakistan's counterattacks were beaten back with ferocity. Their artillery and armour, though formidable, could not dent the determination of the Jats. The Indian tricolour flew proudly in Dograi, just a few kilometers from Lahore. International pressure may have stopped the Indian Army from advancing further, but history remembers that Lahore was within striking distance because of the courage at Dograi. For the men of 3 JAT, this was not just a battle. It was a saga of honor, sacrifice and unbreakable brotherhood. They had shown what discipline, preparation and fearless leadership can achieve. The Battle of Dograi became a shining example of infantry grit in modern warfare. Even today, military academies and history books recall it as one of the toughest yet most decisive infantry battles fought by India. As the guns fell silent with a ceasefire, the soldiers of 3 JAT stood tall. They had not only defeated the Pakistani army on their soil, but also etched their name into the annals of Indian military glory. The battle was proof that when India fights, it fights with heart, with discipline and with the will that no enemy can match. The night of September 21-22 in 1965 will forever remain a proud chapter in India's history. It was the night when 3 JATs looked Pakistan in the eye, stormed their fortress and emerged victorious. Dograi was more than a battlefield, it was a symbol of India's courage, a reminder of the price of freedom and a warning to every enemy that underestimates Indian army. This was India's triumph. This was 3 JAT's glory, and this was the Battle of Dograi, where Lahore trembled and the tricolor rose high.